first things you want to ask when interviewing agents, buyer or seller agents, is how are you going to represent me in this transaction? Because there's 3 different ways, and they all carry different requirements on our end. The one with the most help coming to you or fiduciary duties is called a buyer's agent. I just always refer to myself as an agent because that's the only way I prefer to work unless there's extenuating circumstances in the transaction that would help both parties. A buyer's agent in the agency agreement that you sign when you agree to whichever of these you're going to have your agent represent you, again, has a whole separate paragraph of additional duties that the buyer's agent must take over the other 2 representation methods. You'll get the fiduciary, you'll get all these extra representative things and really for the same price. So I always try and represent my clients in agency, like I said, but then we'll move to transaction broker. And this means that you're more of a referee for the transaction as opposed to a coach. Sometimes this comes into play when you have the listing or I have the listing and a buyer approaches me and they're not represented. They don't care, and they and the seller can agree to some sort of benefit for the seller for losing a little bit of representation. Again, it's just kind of a case-by-case basis, but transaction broker works for the transaction and cannot give advice to either side knowing personal details. It's just how to facilitate the transaction. And then we move all the way down to customer status. There's no representation at all. We can barely do anything for a customer. So this has to be a really extenuating circumstance for a buyer or seller to agree to be in customer status, but it does happen. And so really try to avoid that. It's really not something that we push on people unless we need to use it. So again, when you're interviewing agents or just the agent that you've chosen to work with, make sure you understand which one that you will be in because they're very different.